Thanks for joining me with this ride review. If you can do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you like it, and if you want to get notified of more of my videos and my ride reviews, hit that bell icon and it'll notify you when new ones come out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me today. Today, we have the BMW, it's a 2013 BMW F800GT. This is a fantastic bike. Let's see if I can get out, like, shadow out of the way. Some really cool things about this particular bike. One, it's got the Givey top case, which I don't have on today, but it is even wired for power, brake lights, the whole bit. And so you can, I think it's got a charger in it for charging your phone. Don't quote me on that, but I think there is. I know it's powered. Let's take a look at that. So it's got the little powered piece here, and you can see the wire going down, so it is powered. And it does have the luggage racks. The GTs have an optional luggage system you can get with these. The BMW luggage is really cool. It's expandable, really nice. What else about this particular bike? This particular bike has I don't know, I call them pucks. I don't know. They're you know, in case you were to drop the bike, that these will hit first. It's got those on both sides, and it is lowered a little bit. And a nice thing about that is that it's been done right. So it's got the Wilbur suspension. You can see the orange suspension in here. That suspension is fantastic. It's a costly upgrade for sure, but with the suspension, and it feels like front and rear, both the suspension has been modified a bit, because it really is a nice riding motorcycle. They were a bit on the soft side, stock, I guess, and if you lowered them, they became just, you know, a little bit softer. But with this setup, it is really nice, and you can adjust the rebound dampening, you can adjust the preload, and so it gives you a lot of adjustability on that rear shock. What else do we have here? We put the LED headlight and LED lights down here on the forks. Those actually, the way they are wired, they stay on with the CAN bus system. So they're wired through the CAN bus system. They stay on for, I think it's a minute after you turn the bike off, which is kind of cool. So if you pull up at your house at night, you can have a little bit of vision there. This is always a good sign. If I'm reaching down in here and you can see this little lead, that lead is for a battery tender. Another cool thing that I'll point out as we go around this bike, and many people maybe don't know this, but it does have a steering damper. All these bikes, the F800 GTs, came with a steering damper that allowed them to change the rake on the bike to make it steer a little bit quicker but not get twitchy with the steering damper. Pretty cool bike. I think we should get on and take a ride. We're going to do our little parking lot routine. I love that you can't really see this. Let's see if I can get off the bike here really quick. This tank protector has the BMW logo in it. Really cool. Oh, and the seat. It does have a very, very nice seat on it. I don't think that is stock. I think that's a custom seat. It's super comfortable. And then we have adjustable levers. That way you can adjust it for your, you know, if you've got really long hands, you can adjust these levers out. If you've got short hands, you can adjust them in. Kind of a cool deal. Bike sounds really good. On these F800s, you always listen for that cam chain sound when you first start the bike up. If you get that rattle, that means that cam chain tensioner may need some attention. This doesn't have that. It's actually just none of that sound whatsoever. So very properly maintained bike. That's always a cool thing. Let's take it around the parking lot. And it's lowered, so touching the ground is completely flat-footed. I'm actually finding this to be a really easy bike in the parking lot. Super sharp turns, super smooth power. The F800s have just such great low-end torque. I can modulate the clutch without having to use the throttle at all. This actually makes this a lot of fun. Actually, a lot of fun. This is one of the better bikes in a parking lot for sure. Feels nice and low. You don't feel intimidated with that ground clearance, and then it just turns super sharp and really, really easy. And the fact that I don't have to modulate the throttle and the clutch at the same time, I can just modulate the clutch when I go really slow. Makes it nice. Super nice. Now the mirrors are nice and far out here, so you don't really even see your arms or anything. It's nice vision behind you. I love that. That's super cool. And if you take a look at this windscreen, and we'll try this out on the road, but it's a really wide windscreen, almost as wide as the entire fairing system, and that gives you a lot of protection around the shoulders and over to the helmet and the windy roads, and I'll catch back up with you right there. Alright guys, now we're out here towards the wineries where there's a really nice windy road. We get to check out this bike, and I was just going to mention a couple of the really interesting things. Fantastic. Actually, it's really only one, but the seat, as I pulled it off and took a look at it, it says BMW underneath it. Man, that is one amazingly comfortable seat. I haven't had a lot of these bikes in the shop, so I'm not sure. Maybe it's been reupholstered. I just can't get over just how comfortable that seat is. It feels like it's a, you know, a firmer memory foam type seat. Just so comfortable. Wow. Okay, for a stock seat, that's amazing. Brembo brakes. Fantastic. It's a pretty quiet bike. And let's get on and take her for a ride. One of the interesting, I got all these keys. I have every key on the keychain. Got more than one key. Okay. Nice and quiet bike. We've got heated grips. It has the suspension system integrated, but it has the suspension was changed out to the Wilburs, so not stock. So you see that. That's actually an interesting thing to have, the little suspension thing there. Sport, comfort, norm. But I do not believe that that is integrated into the Wilburs. I'd have to go double check that to be sure. Now let's go take a ride, and I want to talk about the power of the F800. Now this kind of is across all F800 motors, including the GT, and they are real torquey off the bottom like this. You could pull away from a stop without using the throttle. Pretty cool. And then if we get on the gas, let's see, we'll go, and you have like, so up to like, say 5,000 RPM, it's kind of the same sort of throttle response, real linear, not a lot of boost. So you get up to about 7,000 or 8,000 RPM right before red line. It just really starts to take on its own in that area. You have to find a straightaway to kind of give her some beans, but you almost feel like, oh, you know, kind of not a ton of power, and then you get up into that power band. Right, 6,000, it goes a lot more, 7, 8. So 6,000 to 8,000 RPM, you get a lot more power, which is really nice. It's kind of the way all the F800s are until you get them up in that power band. It's not like it hits really hard, but you get extra power up there, which is really nice. A good amount of power. It's an 800cc motorcycle. How does it handle? Heck, it handles awesome. Really nice handling bike. Grand Touring, that's GT. So you can do quite a bit of touring, especially with this seat, man. The seating position, super comfortable. Talk a little bit about this windscreen right here. Now it's nice and wide, so it keeps the majority of the wind off your shoulders. The wind is hitting right about midway up my windshield, and I can feel it on my arms, but not on my shoulders. And that's kind of a nice, so you still get some airflow, and there's zero buffeting, which is really good. It's nice to have some airflow on a more like a sport touring motorcycles, where you know you want that airflow. Especially, it's been so hot around here, man, oh man. So this is really nice. Real agile bike. The suspension upgrade makes a big difference. I've had a few of these in, and this is a 2013. I think I had another 2013 in. with the stock suspension, and it was lowered a little bit, so the BMW does a lowering. And my problem with that one is it was so soft that it'd go into corners and you'd start touching down your feet and such, and it just seemed to be a little too soft. With the Wilburs, it's really nice firm, sturdy, or whatever. It feels sturdy, I guess. Real planted over our bumpy bridge. Yeah, it just really keeps its line really nice. Just, gosh, real pleasure to ride this bike. So who's this bike right for? I say it's right for somebody getting into touring. It's a good around the town bike. It's a great commuter bike. Kind of just does everything except for your off-road. You want to get into a little bit of sport touring, you know, handles these corners really well. So it's kind of a do-everything bike. If you want a lighter weight touring bike, awesome. This bike was used for some backroads touring and some commuting. The previous owner, and he absolutely loved it. I can see why. And could this be a beginner bike? This could be, I could see this being a first bike. I know it's an 800 and that sounds pretty big, but it really is a friendly bike. Real confidence inspiring, no surprises. I think a lot of that has to do with, you know, it does have a steering damper, and that keeps your front end just really, really planted, but it still is very nimble. Very smooth bike to ride. Super quiet. So I see a lot of people put different exhaust systems on these, and you know, because they sound really good, they kind of have a good bark when you put a aftermarket exhaust on them. But there is something to be said about having a nice quiet bike, especially if you're going to do some touring. And on this bike, I hear the wind, some road noise, maybe a little bit, but that's kind of it. It's super quiet. When I'm going slow, I hear the motor. I don't hear the exhaust. I don't hear the exhaust at all. I like these, the levers are really perfect. I can adjust them right where I want them for my hands. I've got a little bit bigger hands, so I kind of like them a little bit out. But you can adjust them back in. Yeah, it really does nice. You know, this is where sport touring, maybe that's why they call it grand touring, I don't know. GT, it's you know, crosses that line between sport and touring. You have a more upright seating position, so it's a lot more comfortable than a sport bike, but you still have the handling, the wind protection. And then fuel economy. These things do really great on fuel. Actually, it's one of the most one of the most economic bikes. I don't know what to say. I've actually, on an F800, I have gotten up to 70 miles per gallon. So that's not bad at all. That's cruising down the freeway to Highway 5, or Highway 5 to San Diego. I was getting right at 70 miles per gallon on an F800 GS. So it's likely this could even do better than that, which is pretty dang phenomenal. I've got smaller bikes that don't do that well. Yeah, we'll pull it over and take one last look at the bike. God, it's such a nice bike to ride. Yeah, it really is. Now this bike also has a center stand, and the bike having a center stand, here's your center stand right here. But being lowered, it's a little tougher to get that up on the center stand because you're about inch and a half lower, so you've got to pull it up on that center stand pretty hard. You've got things like for your heated vest, there's a port right here to plug in like a heated vest, and you can add your BMW luggage if you like. What a fantastic motorcycle, ladies and gentlemen. That is the F800 GT. Boom.